When multiplying radicals, you may multiply radicands. Consider the square root of 4 times the square root of 9 equals the square root of 36, because 4 times 9 is 36. The square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 9 is 3, so 2 times 3 does equal 6, which is the square root of 36. So this is all allowed. Whole number times whole number and radical times radical. Never multiply a whole number and radical. Leave all answers in simplest radical form. So if we have these a times the square root of b times c times the square root of d, you can multiply the coefficients and you can multiply what's under the radical like this. So it becomes ac times the square root of bd. Here's an example. We have 3 times 6 giving us 18. We have 5 times 7 giving us 35 under the radical. And here we have 4x times 7x giving us 28x squared. And then the square root of 2 times the square root of 3 giving us the square root of 6. Here's some examples. Negative 6 times the square root of 7 times the square root of 10. Alright, so the coefficient of square root of 10 is just 1. So if we multiply negative 6 times 1, we get negative 6. The square root of 7 times the square root of 10 gives us the square root of 70. Here, we don't have a radical here, so we can just multiply the coefficients. 5 times 4 gives us 20, and then the radical here doesn't exist, so we'll just say 1. So 1 times the square root of 3 gives us the square root of 3. And there are the answers. 5 times 4 is 20. The square root of 2 times the square root of 6 is the square root of 12. So we can simplify this because 20 times the square root of 2 squared, which is 4, times 3. So we can cancel out that squared, move this 2 out front, and we have 40 times the square root of 3. Here we have 10 times 1, which is 10, times the square root of 49, which is 7 times 7. The square root of 49 is 7. So this becomes 7 times 10, which is 70. Here we have negative 12 times the square root of 150. So the square root of 150 is the same thing as 25 times 6. 25 is 5 squared, so we can take this 5, move it out front, and that gives us negative 60 times the square root of 6.